Here's something nobody tells you when you turn 50. Your brain is actually better at starting a business right now than it was at 30. I know, that sounds backwards. We're fed this story that entrepreneurs are young hoodies in garages, and if you haven't launched your big idea by 35, you missed the train. But here's the research that stopped me cold. A study published in the Harvard Business Review, drawing on data from 2.7 million business founders, found that the average age of a successful startup founder is 45, and founders in their 50s outperformed founders in their 20s by almost every measure that matters. Your brain isn't past its prime. In many ways, it's just hitting it. Let's talk about why and exactly how to use it. First, let's bust the myth that your best thinking is behind you. Yes, some things slow down with age. Pure processing speed, how fast you can crunch new information, does peak in your 20s and early 30s. That's real. But here's what doesn't slow down, and what actually gets better. Crystallized intelligence. That's the accumulated knowledge, pattern recognition, and judgment you've built over decades keeps rising well into your 60s and even 70s. Think of it as the difference between raw computing power and wisdom. A 25-year-old has the clock speed. You have the operating system. Bilateral brain activation. As we age, we increasingly use both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously for complex tasks. Young brains tend to be more lateralized. Midlife and older brains recruit more neural real estate. The result? Better integration of emotion and logic, better big-picture thinking, better reading of people and situations. For a creative business, that's a superpower. Creative businesses, whether that's consulting, coaching, content creation, handcraft, design, writing, music, art, or teaching, lean on exactly the cognitive strengths that are peaking right now. Emotional intelligence, knowing your customer, reading a room, building trust. That's crystallized intelligence at work. Study found that adults in their 50s and 60s consistently score higher on emotional regulation and coping skills than younger adults. Studies consistently link a strong sense of purpose with better cognitive health, lower dementia risk, and longer life. Starting a business aligned with what you genuinely care about isn't just good for your bank account. It's literally good for your brain. A few obstacles are real and worth naming honestly. The learning curve on new tools. Learning new platforms triggers neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. The discomfort is the point. Self-doubt and comparison. The people most qualified to serve a 55-year-old going through a career transition are people who've been 55 and gone through a career transition. Your lived experience isn't baggage. It's the product. When you start a creative business, a few remarkable things happen neurologically. Novelty triggers dopamine, the brain's motivation and reward chemical, released in anticipation of good things. Planning, building, and creating keeps your dopamine system active. Passive routine lets it go quiet. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, essentially fertilizer for your neurons, is activated by learning new skills. Figuring out how to price a service, build an audience, or learn a new craft all trigger BDNF release. Social engagement through entrepreneurship directly counters isolation, one of the greatest risk factors for cognitive decline. Starting a creative business isn't just a financial decision, it's a cognitive health strategy. Here's your action for this week. And it's genuinely simple. Write down 3 things you know how to do that took you years to learn, and that someone 20 years younger than you would pay to learn faster or better. Just 3. Don't filter, don't edit, don't immediately think, but who would want that? Write them down. That list is the beginning of your creative business inventory. Those aren't just skills. Those are potential services, products, courses, and conversations. The research is clear. The brain you have in midlife is built for this. The pattern recognition, the emotional intelligence, the resilience, the depth. These are not consolation prizes for getting older. They are real cognitive advantages. The only thing standing between you and a creative business that lights you up is the story you've been told about when your prime was. That story is wrong. If this hit home, subscribe to Sharp After 50. Every week, we bring you the science of keeping your brain sharp, your purpose clear, and your second half genuinely exciting. And if you've already started something creative, drop it in the comments. I want to hear what you're building. Stay sharp.